Okay, this is going to be different from most of my other Alice Cooper album reviews because my feelings can boil down to just a standard shoot from the hip discussion on this newest record. I tried liking it on first listen, but on my second go around, I knew where I stood. I am very disappointed with this album. There are maybe 5 songs off the 14-track record that I like. Of those 5, we have Black Mamba, which harkens back to the dark and broody nature of Killer with effective usage of eerie psychedelic melodies. Kill the Flies, which is a quasi-legacy sequel of Wind Up Toy in the vein of being locked in a padded cell and only having bugs as company. One Night Stand, which is a gothic Jim Morrison approach as a Jack the Ripper type character. Blood on the Sun, which has an opening of late 60s Beatles pop, which I don't care for at all, but once the instruments hit, the song goes on a magical journey of this lighter themed Halo of Flies approach. And finally, the last song, See You on the Other Side, which is a lovely eulogy for Glenn Buxton, which when listening has inadvertently morphed into a song for Ozzy Osbourne. Yet, even with the songs I liked, there are pieces in there I don't care for, such as the aforementioned beginning of Blood on the Sun, or the chorus of Kill the Flies. Every other song on this record, to me, is a disappointment. They are either tacky, unimaginative, or repetitive in theme, such as the second song, Wild Ones, which, y'all, I swear, I felt like we've had at least 5 of those songs in the past 3 albums. You also have 3 One Night Stand songs, in which, again, like, we had a pretty funny and good one off of Paranormal, yet these songs don't even come close to falling in love, except maybe for the song titled One Night Stand. You also get some downright stupid songs on here, like Intergalactic Vagabond Blues, which is him and an alien girl on a cosmic voyage hooking it up. Whatever loose theme was present in this album completely loses its way and goes off the rails after Blood on the Sun, which is only the 6th track. The last half of the album is Alice at his worst, with mediocre renditions of stories and situations from his most recent albums. Even songs like Money Screams, which is just cringeworthy to listen to, as it's this preachy tune about the evils of money, and they're like working class Joes, but you don't get the picture of them being these characters or doing like a Springsteen thing with like character studies. So it just sounds like old wealthy millionaires complaining about millionaires. But overall, this album sounds old. And I don't mean that Alice or the original band couldn't perform. I mean the overall production and songwriting sounds incredibly old and downright bad. This thing just lacks in charm, ear candy twists, high and low-fi qualities, and creativity. Alice is 30 albums deep into his career and has worked with Ezrin many times, so I know this likely won't happen, but Alice just needs to step away from Bob on the next album and choose someone who can bring just a fresh quality to his work. Preferably, I would love someone like Brendan O'Brien, who has done tremendous work with legacy acts over the past 25 years. Also, returning to the songwriting, this is an album where the well feels completely dry. For me, there's a noticeable shift in songwriting quality since The Eyes of Alice Cooper, but there are many albums within that and this that I still enjoy. Additionally, I'm unsure who this album is intended for. The slug on the album says the return album the world was afraid of. Yet this album sounds as dangerous as pulling your car out from the driveway into the garage without wearing a seatbelt. There are some old school Alice moments, but most are like musical inspirations from the late 60s that haven't been overtly relevant in decades, and again with the production quality make them sound like dinosaur tunes. This album gets completely lost in the sauce though when it comes to the loose musical inspirations of the late 1960s, which again don't even reflect the early band albums post Easy Action. So you have an album that will sound immediately dated, old, and stale to younger audiences, But with older audiences, they get over 50% of an album that is mediocre rehashes of his recent albums, which again doesn't even reflect the band during the early 70s. I was concerned when the album cover dropped, because my first thought was, oh god, don't make this camp. But it turned out to not even be camp. It turned out to be a forgettable disappointment that really just, makes you scratch your head and think, was this really the best you can come up with? So that's about all I had to say. There's a good EP in here, and honestly, I would have rather preferred that. Hopefully the next album, if there is one, will be better, because I have zero impulse to go out and buy this. And that's a shame, it's album number 30 of his discography, and you have the remaining, OG members on here. It should have been a blast, but it ended up as a dud. But let me know what you think. Do you like this album? Do you enjoy this album? Or do you share similar feelings to those that I expressed? But otherwise, thank you for watching, and take care. I got the intergalactic vagabond blues. I got